Sunnah, protectors of the Sunnah. Sunnah protectors of the Sunnah.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. In alhamdulillah, wa salam Allah wa rasulullah. Welcome to another session of our Hadith class. And we are studying the Hadiths from the book entitled Once Upon a Time. And these are all stories taken from the people that came before us, stories that have lessons for us to benefit from. And let's look at the Hadith that's up for discussion tonight. And this is a hadith about another one of our prophets, the prophets of Allah. In fact, we've covered two other hadiths about him. For those of you who have not yet purchased the book, make sure you pick up your copy at atleonline.com. The book is there for just $8. Please go ahead and order it. It should be a part of everyone's library. And today the lesson learned is about anger. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, he said, a person receiving information is not the same as actually seeing it. In other words, if a person comes to you and tells you something, it's not the same as if you saw it for your own self. And when he made this statement, the companions, listened because they knew he was going to tell the story. And he said, take, for example, Prophet Moses, alayhi salam. Allah gave information to Moses in regards to how, since he had been away, his people had taken up idols with Allah. His people had forced his brother to make a golden calf for them, and how they were worshiping the golden calf. Now, this was during the time when Allah had given the tablets, the 4 tablets, to Prophet Moses, alayhi salam. So after Allah had given Moses the tablets with the commands of Allah, he told him, go back to your people. But you're going to find that they have set up partners with me, that they have abandoned belief in me, and they have reverted back to worshiping idols. So Moses, was like, okay. So he went back to his people. He did not throw the tablets away. He took the tablets from Allah and said, okay, I'll go back to my people. But when he went back and actually saw what his people were doing, when he saw that they were worshiping this idol, that they had constructed this idol, and that they had resorted back to infidelity, he became angry. And he took the tablets and threw them, thus breaking them, destroying them. So this is a lesson learned, that from our prophet, that to be told something, that something happened, is not the same as actually witnessing it for yourself. A person can tell us that something bad has occurred and we're like, okay, we receive it. But to actually see the evil with our own eyes, it can bring about emotions of anger and discontentment from our personal jinn. So what do you guys think about this story?
Okay, is that better now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was just gonna ask, can this also be like, for example, when someone tells you a gossip about somebody else, but they're telling only their part of the story, and of course you're gonna find it difficult to tell what the truth is because you didn't saw this, like, let's say, fight between them?
No, because Allah speaks the truth. Allah told him what the people had done. It's just that it means exactly what it says. When you see it for yourself, you get a different reaction than hearing about it and you ain't there. To hear that a man commits murder, it may cause you read the news, listen to the news. Oh, a man was killed today on South Central. oh, wow, how horrible. But if you were there and saw the man killed, that's more dramatic. Do you understand now? That's
Yeah,
what
I
it means
understand.
to see something. It brings about a reaction. To hear it, you may not give a reaction. We hear about murder, death, and everything every day. We hear about people killing, raping, maiming every day. We hear it. But if you were standing there and saw the man's brains blown out, your reaction would be totally different. You'd be terrified, screaming, hollering, running, flying, trying to get away. So that's what Allah is saying here. Basically, to witness something, to see it happen with your own eyes is going to bring about a stronger reaction than just hearing about it. And that's why a lot of people need to experience life, because we hear about life all the time. When you raise your children, you tell your children to say no to drugs. You tell your children to stay away from intercourse. And they hear these things. They hear the stories of what's going to happen to you if you do something bad. But it doesn't impact them unless they truly experience it for themselves. So when they take that drug, and that drug ends up making them lose their mind and suffocating them, and they can't get their breath, they're like, oh, I should have listened. So that's what Allah is saying here. Oftentimes, this is the nature of the human. The human being can be told things, but it's not going to register with them until they actually experience it for themselves. We can warn, just like me, Adaya, I can warn you all like I do. But until you experience it for yourself, it ain't going to mean nothing. That's what this is saying. Does everybody understand the meaning of this hadith now? In this case, Moses was told, Allah detailed to him from A to Z what his people did when he left them. So Moses was fully aware of what these people had done. But when he got back and actually saw it, he saw the fornication, the adultery, the infidelity, the shirk. He said, oh my God, this is ridiculous. And he got angry and threw and destroyed the tablets. So that's what it's saying. Does everybody understand? You understand now too, Amina? It's all about experiencing it. We can be told, but until we actually see it, it's not going to give a lasting impact on us. It's not. Just like we talk about death all the time. We talk about what's going on in the grave. How many people take heed? It's not going to impact you until you're in that grave. Then you're going to be, then you'll remember everything and be like, oh my God, this is worse. But it's too late. Anyone else? Go ahead, Zarina. Go ahead, Zarina.
I don't know, my mic was tripping. Yeah, is it kind of like when you hear about certain tests that people go through, or just the punishment that, I mean, not the punishment in the next life, but this life that could happen. And then when you actually make a mistake and you endure it, then you kind of get like, oh my gosh, and you can become stronger. Is it kind of like that? Like certain tests when you actually endure it?
Some people, life impacts them that way. Yeah, that's what it's saying, to experience it, to see it, touch it, feel it, experience it for yourself. That's when it'll give you an impact. Some people's impact is different. Moses' impact was anger. Now, the Prophet Muhammad probably wouldn't have resorted. Every person is different, so people's reactions are different. Moses had a problem with his anger. That was his test in life, was his temper. So when he saw it, he destroyed the tablets. The Prophet Muhammad probably would not have destroyed the tablets. What he probably would have did was yelled at the people. He would have yelled at the people and told the people, that's it. I want all you lined up. Umar, start whipping their butt. That probably would have been the Prophet Muhammad's reaction. He would have had them all beaten. Solomon may have done something different. So people's reactions are different, but the bottom line is Allah wants everyone here to understand. To hear something is not the same as to actually experience it. That's the lesson here. Okay, Sabrina, what do you have to say?
That reminds me of what people say, seeing is believing. A lot of
That too.
times that's what they mean. I know I've had that experience before myself with one of my sons, where I had warned him about a friend of his. And he became angry with me and didn't want to believe me. And later on, this person that he thought was his friend stole from him. And he and I hadn't spoken in, I think, 11 years. But one day he came back to me and he was crying. And he said, "Mom, you was right. I wish I had listened to you. You were right when you told me not to be around this person. But I didn't listen. And then this happened to me. And now, his reaction was just, very much
Exactly. That's an
terrible for him.
example. Seeing
Yeah.
is believing. Exactly. To see it, it brings more of an impact than to hear about it. You've told him and told him and told him about how bad this person was. He had to see it for himself. Allah told Moses how bad these people were and what they did. He said, okay, yeah, okay. But when he saw it, it brought his anger out. So yes, exactly. That's the point here. When we see things, it impacts us in a different way than just hearing about it. Yeah. That's why some people say, I don't want to see it. Some people will say, just tell me, don't show me. There are some people that rather be told instead of shown, because showing them might bring out worse emotions that they can't handle. So that's why you got some people who know what their weaknesses are will say, I don't want to see it. Just tell me about it, but don't show it to me, because that would impact me in a bad way. And I'm trying to control myself. And that was the problem with Moses. Moses had a problem controlling his temper. His temper got in the way of a lot of stuff. Okay. Any other comments or questions about this hadith? All right. I want to thank everybody for joining and participating. Make sure everybody is here for the classes tomorrow. Don't forget that tomorrow we also have Brother Mukhtar's class on the story of the companions. So I'm going to close out right now. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Oh, I didn't record.